Hi, welcome to DIY with Gayle in the Ketchikan Public Library. Today, we are going to make these wonderful little lighthouses for out in the yard, in your garden, or on your deck. This one happens to be made with one of the little battery-operated tea lights. If you move over to this one is made with one of those outside yard solar lights, and it's done in bigger. So what you need for this craft this morning is some clay pots in 3 different sizes or 4 different sizes, whatever you choose. It can even be 2. Today I'm doing 3. So once you choose your clay pots, I left myself a little cheat sheet here. Sometimes they have these little papers stuck on them right like that, and if you've had your pots for any amount of time, it is really hard to pick off. But if you take a pin and lift the corner, you'll be able to peel it right off. I had a lot of difficulty with those. My pots happen to be several years old. I've been wanting to do this craft since last year, but I did not have the huge pots, or I didn't think I had. Beginning of COVID, being able to get plant pots, whether they be clay plant pots or plastic, is very difficult. Last year, with COVID starting, the plastic pots were extremely difficult to get a hold of, and I never did get any big pots. The pots I ended up using for this big one here are some that I actually dug out of the yard. They are broken, which is, I thought, didn't seem to matter. Not this year anyway. Last year it seemed to matter to me. And even this one has a crack, and it wasn't all the way through the pot, it's just through the surface of the pot. And this pot happens to slip over the top of this one. Let's see, do I have one of those sitting here just so I can show you? I thought I had one that would fit. Oh, this one. So this pot literally slips over the top of this one. Instead of sitting on top here, it slips over. So if you have a crack like I did in my big pot and you have one that slips over, beautiful. If yours don't slip over the top, let me find another one. This one. Let's see. This one's a little smaller. And see, it can set right on the edge, ledge, whatever you want to call that one. So it's up to you how you want to put together your pots, okay? To start these pots, you'll need some red, white, and black paint. I chose matte paint instead of gloss, simply because gloss smells a lot more than the matte. Plus, I did end up spraying them twice with a sealer so they can be outside. All right, to start with, the very first thing you're going to do is paint the lip of your pot red. And you know, I went up a little bit high, and that was only because I just wanted to make sure that my lip was thoroughly covered with the red. So red on your top of your pots, and then go back through and paint the rest white. Once you have your pots painted, and please, you guys, make sure you have something over your lap. While I was painting, for some reason, there's splatter as you know, as you're painting along like this, and I end up with splatter all over my jeans. So please, make sure that you cover up and cover your work area, etc. Now, if you are going to use your wonderful little pots, once you get them painted, here's my painted ones, you can use E6000, which will hold your pots outdoors, okay? But the thing with E6000 is it takes 24 hours to dry. So I'm going to use my glue gun also. And all I'm going to do is take a little bit of my E6000. There we go. And this pot happens to fit on the very top edge of my other pot. Oops, I'm dribbling. So I'm just going to go around the edge here And as I said, this will take longer to dry, and I want to be able to play with mine, so I'm going to use a little hot glue in a few areas just to hold it in place until the other glue dries. Put it on here as straight and level as you can. And remember, all of these little pots have flaws, etc. in them, so you might have to fill with a little bit of the glue. Note, I'm going along the bottom edge here and just wiping the big glue spots off. Okay, same for the next one, just a little bit of that E6000. And it does smell. It's not horrible, but it does have an odor, and I won't be playing in it very long. Now remember, this one went over the top. And same thing, wipe off your glue spots. If you didn't get all of your glue spots while they're warm, go back over and rub gently. If you rub too hard, your paint will come off. And honestly, it won't really matter if you don't want it to. So I've made a mess of my E6000 here. So I'm just going to come back down here and use the back of my brush and put it on here. Okay. And then there's these little, they sit under the little trays. Now, you can put your tray up like this, but if you're going to use it on your deck or something, it's going to fill with water. So, I recommend painting the bottom side and doing the bottom instead. Adding a glob of glue, and I will use my E6000 because these are going to be outside too. All right, place that on the center. Okay, doesn't it look beautiful? And then of course your little candle can go on there. Now you can glue your candle on if you'd like. I'm not going to because my grandkids love to play with the candles. At the end of the day, they'll stick them all back on, but they just love to come over and play with all the little candles. So once you have your little piece put all together, then you're going to make doorways and windows. And I just silhouetted. If you want to do more than that, awesome. You could also paint brush on beside your door and flowers and stuff, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use a silhouette. I've made my little doorway. I'm going to put a couple of windows. And then just come over those with the black paint, which, all right. And that's basically how you make your little thingamajig. I can't remember what it's called now. All right, let me say something about the E6000 scene. I just made a mess of it. When you do your E6000, do it lightly because you don't want it to run. And when you get it on your hands, it doesn't roll off just like the hot glue does. It sticks to your hands, and in all honesty, it doesn't wash off very well. So get up there and wash it off quickly if you did get it on yourself, okay? I want to show you the rocks. I didn't show you the rocks. On this one, I put rocks around it. You could put rocks, shells, whatever you wanted, or nothing at all. Oops, there goes the candle. And all I did to do that was mix my hot glue and my E6000. Now the thing is you don't have to use the 6000 if you don't want to, if you're not worried about your item making it through till next year or the year after, whatever. It will hold for this year no matter what, even if you leave it out in the rain. Okay, so it depends. your glue depends on how long you want your little lighthouse to last. My lighthouse is going to go through this year probably, and maybe next year, but this year for sure. After that, I'm good. I have lots of kids around here, kids, dogs, animals, you name it, and some of the stuff, no matter how wonderful they are and how well they treat my stuff, some of it just gets broken, because that's the way it goes. And that's all there is to it. Just put your little rocks. These happen to be something that probably came from an aquarium, because they seem to have a little bit of a soft rub or whatever on them. Make sure you don't go past your lip, otherwise your little thing is not going to set flat, so make sure that your rocks are up above your lip, okay? If it's not, pick it off. And you will find you will be able to undo these easily. Oh, and I do want to show you about the light. So this wonderful little light that I have here comes with, where's the rest of it? It comes basically like this from Walmart. I have glue on it, so you won't have glue on it. It comes like this, and all you do is pull this bottom piece off, open the top, which is a push and turn, and then there's this little thing in there that you pull, a piece of paper, put it back together, put a ton of glue on it, and stick it into the hole, press firmly. Excuse me, you want the glue to come out of the top and around it, because that's just going to hold it nice and tight in there. And then, look at that. There's my beautiful little lighthouse. This one will be out in the garden this year. I'm going to lift this up. I wanted you to take a peek at how I put together the big lighthouse, and to see the quality of my pots. As I said, these pots were broken, have cracks and pieces missing off of them, and yet they still turn out beautiful. Look at how much Easy 6 I had to put onto this one, and the amount of hot glue. But if you want it to hold, you really need to get it on there. And because this particular pot that I'm adding to is very misshapen, and it also has a couple of broken spots, I was trying to line it up perfectly, which failed, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. Just getting it settled on there and getting it to where it doesn't move is a lot. Hold it until that glue, the hot glue, sets. Looks pretty good. Okay. Let's see how that goes. I'm oozing all over the place here. Alright, so I used the E6000 with the hot glue gun because it just did not hold. And I'm going to go back around. Make sure I got all the glue from sticking. It's nice and tight. This is flat. Alright, and then, so if there's big gaps, we flipped it up on its head, and if there's big gaps, and I do have a couple of big gaps, and I want to make sure that that is sealed enough in there that if my grandkids go flying by and knock it over, I don't want any accidents. So I'm going to fill this with hot glue. So there is absolutely no risk, no movement, no nothing. And then I'm just going to let that dry. Woohoo, that one was hot. All right. I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'm going to take it out and spray it and stick the top on it, and there it is. All right. Have fun. Come on into the library. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 till 6. Tuesday, we have the, oh, I can smell the glue. Tuesday, we have the reading on KRBD. Saturdays, we have reading with Pat Tully. She does the classics on Facebook. And of course, DIY with Gayle and you. Take care, and we'll see you at the library.